We often don't associate older people with doing the deed at all, but love and intimacy is a hugely important part of everyone's life, no matter what age you are. And one doctor even thinks we should actively encourage it and make room for romance in our care homes. So, what do we think, Janet? I'm only starting with you because you're closer to it.
Thank you. Well, the most important thing to establish is that, isn't it astonishing, people over 70 actually have sexual urges. And we actually, you know, do want to have sex and we do want intimacy. So I think a lot of younger people, I mean, even when I was in my teenage years, I used to look at my mother and father and I could not imagine everyone was like that. But obviously they did, because I was the result. So, you know, they must have done it at least twice, because it was me and my sister. But I think that's really common, that younger people think, oh, older people, what do they do? But I think we ought to recognise, too, that when people get older, they might want a different kind of sex and a different kind of intimacy. And they also, if one partner dies, they might want to find someone else to be intimate with. My problem is that when you say that someone wants to set aside a room in a care home for intimacy, it sounds like a couple of prisoners on a conjugal visit. It doesn't. I don't want anyone monitoring my sex life. I'd be worried there'd be hidden cameras, and I don't like the idea of a special.
But I think it's not even just about the room to do the deed. I think they're talking about making even. You know, I remember when my mum was in the care home, and when you go into the the communal lounge, it's all the chairs around the walls. And it really does look like a waiting room,
it's
I have to
because
say.
We as a society don't really understand old age still, actually, do we?
Well, why can't they look more like a normal home?
Yeah, and why can't they do much more social events, much more, I mean, like, not just playing bingo and listening to wartime stories, which they do a lot of. I think it needs to be just more about this sort of, it's what you called, you said romance. And it is about that. We tend to think of older people as being a bit like youngsters in a primary school, you know, they don't do that, they are asexual almost, and of course they're not.
Well, there's a care home in America and they have prom nights for senior citizens. There's a couple here, I think that you're going to see a picture of them there. How lovely is that? I know, really nice.
Well, a couple of my friends have been astonished to discover that their mothers in their 80s have got new boyfriends.
Good for them.
One of my friends, his mother was in New Zealand, and he also had a difficult relationship with his mother and went over once a year, and suddenly he went back home, she had a new hot boyfriend, and he felt quite excluded, because suddenly, you know, his mum wasn't interested in him, she was having sex with the new boyfriend. But what slightly bothers me about care homes is, I know what Anne's saying, but I know that a lot of care homes people running care homes will be watching this programme, and they do. There are really, really good ones, just as there are really terrible ones, but we hear too much about the terrible ones. But in general, I would say, I'd like to see care homes situated in the centre of towns, not in suburbia, not in these big old houses on the ring road somewhere. You want to stimulate people and integrate them into the community. So I'd like to
they can see life going on outside the windows.
I want care homes on the high street. You know, in old buildings that have been, you know, repurposed, so they can sit in the windows of an old department store and look out, and that place can be a meeting place for young people and old people.
But don't you agree as well that, because I've read a lot of stories as well, where older couples that have been together 60, 70 years and then are forced to split because there's no accommodation for them at the care home.
Chelsea is, she's already emailed. She said, I worked in a care home and we had an older couple staying with us and they had to be in separate rooms, and I feel this is wrong. That really is treating somebody like no longer a human being, just a thing.
Yeah, we've got some more comments here. Frederica says, if they're sound of mind, and why not? They should be given the privacy for sex if that's what they want to do. Tracy says they're adults, and yes, just because they're old doesn't mean they don't have sexual needs. But what if one has dementia or vulnerable, then the other takes advantage? Obviously, you've got to worry about that. But if they're
some care homes as well, I was reading today, are doing kind of dating nights, you know, like a little speed dating night, and they have little romantic dinners and that together. Isn't that lovely?
It's lovely, I know, yeah. A bit like 50 Shades. 50 Shades of Blue Rinse coming up.
I think you can't generalise about old people, because I think there are other surveys that show that a very high proportion of women don't feel at all engaged with sex or interested in arousal, and that proportion goes up to about 40% in their 70s, which is very, very sad. But then, astonishingly, when they get in their 80s, it all starts coming back.
There we go, stopping you.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
But no, I was shocked to read that in their 80s they get a bit of the old mojo back.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, maybe
I
it's
need to start looking after myself. I'm not going to make it.
Yeah, but also maybe it's when you get to 80 you realise it doesn't matter what I look like or what I say, I've got nothing to lose. Whereas, you know, in your 60s or 70s, I'm still quite obsessed about my appearance and not making too big a fool of myself. But perhaps by the time I get to 85, it'll be knickers down and unavailable.